So we'll start by getting a little background information from yourselves. Can you tell us your age and living situation, please?
I'm 31. I live in a flat in Mayfield.
And how many people are in the residence?
Currently three. I've had to have my cousin and her fiance move in with me during the lockdown.
And how social are you normally?
Usually quite social. Meet up with friends on weekly basis, if not daily. Um, Going to see people, them coming to see me. So yeah, I'm usually usually never in the house really.
So would it be accurate in saying then that seeing people and is a very big part of your life then?
Yes, I would. I'd love to go and see people because normally I live on my own, so it's usually quite boring in the house. So it's good to have people over or go out and see them.
And what's your mental health like normally?
Uh, Normally it's okay. I have thoughts and feelings that aren't very good, but I'm usually able to keep control of them and try and not let them get to me most of the time. Um, but sometimes they do get to me.
So have you had a history of mental health problems prior to lockdown? Or
Ever since I was 15, when I lost my mother.
so now that we've got a little background information on yourself, we will move into the main questions section. Overall, how has the lockdown affected your mental health?
It's actually affected it quite a bit, to be honest with you, um, because I couldn't see people. All I did was go to work and go home, and I don't really enjoy my work very much. So it pays my bills, and that's it really. So it was very horrible and depressing.
And how did you find the lockdown during the first month?
Uh, the first month I have to admit didn't actually affect me as much. I mean, yeah, I wasn't seeing anybody, but I was going to work. I was coming home. I was mostly just worried about friends and family getting it, catching the virus, or myself catching the virus. That I just kind of focused on that really, and it didn't actually affect me as much the first month. But as time went on, it did start getting bad.
So this section relates to your work. You said you worked in Morrison's Dalkeith,
Yes.
and so were you furloughed during your lockdown?
No, I worked the entire time through lockdown.
Okay, and how was the public during the first month?
Oh, they were terrible to be honest. They were panic buying and they were quite short tempered, very aggressive sometimes. You did get the odd person though that was very nice, very um, grateful to you for still risking your life working so they could still get their shopping and things like that. Um, and a lot of people were just just avoiding thing, keeping themselves to themselves, and that was about it. But you did get a few nasty people.
And how did it make you feel working during a period where most of the country was furloughed?
Well, part of me felt very lucky because obviously I wasn't losing any money. I was still earning a lot, and because I couldn't go anywhere and do anything, I wasn't spending a lot of money, so I was able to save. Um, I also felt a little afraid, because obviously I was out in the thick of it. I was a higher risk of me catching the virus or someone else in my department catching the virus and passing it on to me, or me taking it to someone else's at home or something like that. So there was a bit of fear as well. But then, as well as that, there was also a feeling of um, pride really that I was able to help others. Because I took shopping to my grandmother's house because she couldn't go out. I took shopping to my aunt's, and because she couldn't go out as well, and I was helping other people as well with their shopping too, who couldn't leave their houses due to other medical conditions that they had. So um, I also felt really proud that I could actually be able to be in a position where I could actually help others as well, which actually did give me a little bit of help on my mental health. It made me feel a little bit better about myself. So
And just briefly, going back to, you mentioned that some of the public wasn't very nice to you when you were working. Can you touch on how that made you feel a bit?
well, on some level, I was patient because they they were acting out of fear. This is a very trying time, and people generally act out when they're mostly afraid. So it wasn't. I tried not to take it personally, because people do tend to be act badly out of fear more than a lot of emotions. So I tried not to take it personally, but there was some times where it just made me feel really terrible, and I just felt like, why am I risking my life for this kind of abuse?
Yeah, and certainly you shouldn't have been put in that situation at all. You were just
No,
having to do your job, after
no.
all.
I mean, I'm out risking my life so people can still get their shopping and feed themselves. And all me and my colleagues asked was a bit of patience and a bit of respect, and sometimes we didn't get it. Sometimes we got treated like dirt, and it wasn't very nice. It wasn't very nice.
Was there any help given to you by the government to help out with that?
Not to me personally, no. Um, I didn't have any sort of help from government about my mental health or the lockdown affecting me or anything. I just had to get on with it. Really, I just had me and had to get on with it.
Did you feel you were able to unwind at all?
Sometimes, when I had maybe a couple of days off together, I could maybe unwind for a bit and kind of just try and recharge and that. But mostly because I worked a lot, I was coming in early, I was staying late, I was sometimes working 7, 8 days in a row, or sometimes I would only get like work several days, get one day off, work another several days, then get another day off. So and in that one day I had to try and get my house in order and do laundry and again take other people shopping to them. So I didn't have a lot of time to just sit and reflect and recharge and have any time for myself really.
And just overall, how did you feel working during a pandemic and everything you experienced in that position affected your mental health?
Well, as I say, I felt afraid for my safety a little bit. I also felt a bit of pride for being able to be in a position to help people when other people couldn't. And I did feel a little bit lucky that I could still work and earn my money when other people couldn't, and other people were losing their jobs, not actually just being furloughed, but actually losing employment. Um, but for my mental health, it's been a very trying experience because it just seemed to be getting worse a lot of the time, and there was no light at the end of the tunnel sometimes. And because I was working so much and helping other people, sometimes I didn't actually take some time for myself and actually try to help me. So I did end up getting to a pretty dark place sometimes.
When did you feel your mental health start to decline?
I'd probably say about the end of the second month. really, when it seemed that this was going to go on a lot longer than what was originally anticipated. So at first it was only going to be a couple of months, maybe 3 months at most, but then it looked like it was going to go further than that, and now it's actually going even further than what was originally promised. So yeah, it has had a big effect on my mental health.
And were you able to turn to any services?
Not really. I mean, actually, just before the lockdown, I was actually on the list for counselling because I had a bit of a relapse with my mental health. But of course, when the hospitals and the surgeries and everything all closed, obviously that was I was going to have to wait. Um, I did get one phone call, like an over the phone interview, just to check up to see how I was doing and things like that. I've mostly just had to kind of deal with it myself, really. Um, I've had a few. I've had friends to talk to and family members that I could talk to about some things, and I do have a few books and some online stuff I've looked at to to try to keep it under control myself until I can obviously maybe see if I can get back to the counselling. But I haven't heard anything since the first month about that, so I don't know when that will be.
Did you feel like there was anywhere you could turn to help with your mental health?
Other than friends and family, no. Um, as far as I knew, every medical profession was either helping with COVID or they were closed, and there was nothing really open to me as far as I knew anyway. Um, so I'm luckily I haven't fell ill from anything and needed a doctor, which was a good thing. But mental health wise, I've just literally had to just try and deal with it myself.
Yeah, that's certainly not something you should have been having to do.
No, but I didn't feel there was any other choice. It was either deal with it, try and deal with it myself until things got better, or just keep going downhill. In which case, I probably wouldn't be sitting here if I let that happen.
And as we ease out of lockdown, do you feel your mental health getting better at all?
It has improved very slightly because I can actually see people again, actually spend time with them, give my godson and my nieces and my nephews a cuddle, and seeing them safe and well and healthy um, obviously helps me a lot. And seeing my other friends and family members safe and healthy is also very good. I have lost a few members of family, and some friends have lost a few members of their family, not actually from COVID, but just during the pandemic. But because they haven't been able to go to funerals or grieve the way they would normally do, it's very difficult. So I couldn't go to my great aunt's funeral when she passed away of cancer last month. So it's had a few trying times, but because I've been able to speak to people and socialize a bit better, I have felt it lift a little bit. The other thing that usually helps me is performing, which has of course been shut down recently with the recent situation. So I haven't been performing for a long time, which is very bad for me. Because I like it's how I express myself. It's also sometimes how I help deal with my depression and my anxiety, and not doing that's been very difficult for me. And it doesn't look like I'm going to be able to do any until next year. So I just have to keep going and see.